It's 80s bands that, well, disappeared. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Book. Is it me, or were the 80s filled with a lot of different acts? A lot of different genres. There was a lot going on. Some of these big acts just simply fizzled in spite of their success. Here's the list. Part 1 of 80s bands that disappeared. The Fine Young Cannibals. They were a British rock band formed in Birmingham, England in 1984. The following year, they released their self-titled debut album with the hits Johnny Come Home and Suspicious Minds. Even though the band only had 3 hit singles in the US, they had 9 in the UK. In 1989, the album The Raw and the Cooked went to number 1 on the Billboard charts in the US. It featured 2 smash hit singles that are still being played today, She Drives Me Crazy and Good Thing. Their name came from a 1960s film, All the Fine Young Cannibals, starring Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood, who of course were a famous Hollywood couple. Their lead singer was Roland Gift, who released a solo album in 2002. In 2020, Gift starred as Johnny Holloway, an ex-pop star sent to jail, in the BBC Radio 4 musical Return to Vegas. Everyone thought this band were in it for the long haul. Also in the group, guitarist David Cox and bassist David Steele, formerly of The Beat. Cox kind of shied away from the limelight, and Steele went on in the music industry and appeared on 24 albums, most commonly as a backup vocalist, but also a guitarist, drummer, and mixer. Till Tuesday, they were a new wave-tinged alt-rock project built around songwriter extraordinaire Amy Mann. They were mostly known for their 1985 top 10 hit Voices Carry, a huge hit on MTV as well. Mann released her debut album, Whatever, in 1993. She never had a pop hit as a solo artist, but it got a lot of airplay with songs like I Should Have Known in 93, That's Just What You Are a couple of years later, and Choices in the Matter in 95. Mann made a lot of guest stints with a lot of artists that we all know. Cyndi Lauper on the album True Colors, and of course, that famous backing vocal stint with Rush, Time Stands Still, from Hold Your Fire in 87. She's also worked with William Shatner, the Honey Dogs, Elton John, Steve Vai, and many others. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, formed in Liverpool. There have been a few big bands out of that city. In 1980, the group's 5 members were Holly Johnson on vocals, Paul Rutherford with backing vocals, Peter Gill, drums and percussion, Mark O'Toole on bass guitar, and Brian Nash on guitar. This band had an aura that seemed like it was going to stay around for a long time. In 1983, their debut single, Relax, was banned by the BBC, but ultimately became the 7th best-selling UK single of all time. Unfortunately, the band didn't last that long, and Johnson was offered a solo recording agreement with MCA. Their debut album, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, reached number 1 in the UK in 1984. It had advanced sales of more than 1 million. They had a lot of success with Two Tribes and The Power of Love. In 1985, the band won the Brit Award for British Breakthrough Act, which was really associated to the second British invasion of the US. They received a Grammy Award and an MTV Video Music Award for Best New Artist. In 1986, they released the album Liverpool, which got incredibly bad reviews. Singles Warriors to the Wasteland, which reached number 19 in the UK, and Watching the Wildlife, a number 28 hit. By that time, there was a lot of unrest in the band, with some band members not actually traveling together. Millie Vanilli, known as being one of the biggest hoaxes in music history. The group was founded in 1988 and consisted of Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus. And they had the massive hits, All or Nothing, Girl You Know It's True, Baby Don't Lose My Number, and Girl I'm Gonna Miss You. But soon after winning things like, well, Grammys, it was discovered that Morvan and Pilatus did not actually sing any of their vocals, so they were forced to give up their Grammy for Best New Artist. And then, of course, there was their pre-recorded track skipping during their live performance on MTV in 1989. The duo tried to make comebacks a few years later, releasing an album in 1993 titled Rob and Fab, but it only sold 2,000 copies. In 1998, Rob Pilatus died at 33 years old from an overdose of alcohol and prescription pills. Morvan, on the other hand, moved on and released his first solo album titled Love Revolution in 2003 and stayed in the music industry. One of the real voices of Millie Vanilli, John Davis, passed away of COVID the age of 66 in May of this year. Lips Inc. What do you think about when you hear that? Of course, Funky Town. They came out of the Minneapolis music scene in 1980. Funky Town was the second single from their debut album, went straight to the top of the charts. We should point out that Funky Town was number 1 in the US, on the US dance charts as well, reached number 1 in Australia, Austria, Germany. It was top of the Dutch charts, Norway, Sweden, and the UK. Their other dance hits included Designer Music, All Night Dancing, which was a number 1 US dance hit, How Long, Tight Pair, Addicted to the Night, and Choir Practice. There was a few more in there as well. The group disbanded in 1985.